Hello everyone, I, Subramanya Hegde, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Electrical and Electronics, welcoming you all for the lecture series on utilization of electrical power. The subject code is 17EE 742 for 7th semester, model number 1 and lecture number 16. I am going to explain the construction and working of compact fluorescent lamp, light emitting diode, carbon arc lamp, neon lamp and halogen lamp in this class. Okay, we'll see the application of this type of lamp as well as comparison between the incandescent lamp, fluorescent lamp, CFL and LED. Okay. Later we'll study the reflection and diffuse principle which is used in illumination and different type of lighting schemes: direct, indirect, semi-direct, semi-indirect and general lighting. The learning outcomes of this lecture, student will able to understand the construction of discharge lamp as well as arc lamps, then reflection and the basic principle of illumination and different type of lighting schemes. Contents covered in previous lecture. In previous lecture, studied the three type of discharge lamps, namely fluorescent lamp, sodium vapor lamp, mercury vapor lamp. Fluorescent lamp majorly consists of capacitor, ballast, fluorescent tube, starter. The fluorescent tube consists of two tungsten filament, coil-shaped filament with electron emission coating in circular shape. The tube is made up from glass, thin glass, and phosphorus, white phosphorus is coated inside the tube, and it is filled with the argon gas, and mercury is in powder form or solid form. Starter is basically consists of a neon lamp as well as a bimetallic strip. Without starter, it is impossible to start the fluorescent lamp. Ballast acts as a voltage booster. It's also called as choke. It takes 230 volts and it increases the voltage up to thousands of volt, 1000 voltage. Okay. The high voltage increases the ionization effect and it increases the velocity of the electron. The capacitor is used to improve the power factor. The choke also acts as a current limiter in the circuit. When electricity is applied, initially the starter is disconnected from higher potential to lower potential. Circuit is open, no current flows through the two electrodes. In between two electrodes, air acts as a dielectric medium at initial stage. When supply is applied, choke increase the voltage more than 1000 volts. That voltage is applied across the starter as well as electrode. When starter close the circuit, the two electrodes emit the electron. Once two electrodes emit the electron, argon gas start to discharging. Discharging of argon gas rises the temperature. It increases the temperature and mercury start to vaporize and mix up with the air. Then air also start to conducting. So electron directly start to flows between the two electrodes. Once the electrons directly flows between the two electrodes, lamp emits 100% light. Okay, it flickers during the starting period because of the cyclic variation of the supply. It is called as stroboscopic effect. Stroboscopic effect is pronounced in low frequency supply. Okay, it also affects on the other devices which is connected to the same circuit. It also introduces the harmonics to the system. So this is all about fluorescent lamp. Its working principle already we studied, and the efficiency of the lamp is about 40 lumens per watt, and working hour is about 7500 hours. The 5000 hours is the normal life. Okay. After 5000, 4000 hours or 5000 hours, the light emitting from the lamp reduces 15%. The next type of lamp, the sodium vapor lamp. Sodium vapor lamp is normally used in railway yards or uh, street lights, it emits yellow light. It consists of capacitor, high leakage transformer, then double walled flask tube in U shape. It's a low pressure sodium vapor lamp. Inner tube is made up from quartz material called as arc tube. It consists of electrodes. Okay. Its efficiency is about 30 to 40 lumens per watt. Normal working life is 3000 hours. The next one, high pressure mercury vapor lamp. High pressure mercury vapor lamp pressure is 2 to 3 times of atmospheric pressure, where low pressure mercury lamp is called as fluorescent lamp. Their pressure is less than the atmospheric pressure, 2.5 mm of mercury. Here argon gas is used. Sodium vapor lamp, the neon gas is used. During the starting, neon gas get discharged and it emits pink light. After 10 to 15 minutes, 100% light is emitted from the sodium vapor lamp. The color is yellow. Then high pressure mercury vapor lamp, it emits a bluish light. It takes 5 to 7 minutes to emit 100% light. It consists of starting electrode and the main electrode. Initially, the discharge causes between the starting and main electrode. Organ causes the discharge. Later, the mercury, the solid form mercury is converted into uh, solid form mercury is mixed up with the air by vaporizing. Its efficiency also 30 to 40 lumens per wattage, and working hour is about 3000 hours. So these are the contents covered in previous lecture. We will see the compact fluorescent lamp. The working principle of the compact fluorescent lamp is similar to the fluorescent lamp. The only thing is the size is in compact size. It's a U tube, glass discharge tube is shown, spiral shape or U shape. Okay, tube is used. Tube reflection cap. This is mounting plate and electronic ballast is used. The difference between the conventional ballast and the electronic ballast is conventional ballast size is big. Your electronic ballast, it consists of fast switching devices like MOSFET, IGBT transistors, so compact in size. But the main disadvantage is electronic ballast emits inject more harmonics to the electrical system. So here filter is required. This is polycarbonate housing and addition screw base. So this is the discharge path. The working, I already told the working principle is similar to the fluorescent lamp. When electricity is applied, electronic ballast boosts the voltage. Okay, boosting of voltage emits more electron inside the tube. Initially, argon gas get discharged. Later, mercury get discharged, okay, and it emits 100% light. The phosphorus coating is employed inside the compact fluorescent lamp in order to convert ultraviolet rays to visible light. So this is base plate pin, is RFI suppressing capacitor. Okay, this compact fluorescent lamp magnetic hum noise is completely reduced, but it interferes with the communication channel. So its efficiency is high. It's about 50 to 60 lumens per watt, and its useful life is about 10,000 hours. The size of the fluorescent lamp, compact fluorescent lamp, is increases as and when the wattage increases. Okay, and cost comparison with the fluorescent lamp, compact fluorescent lamp is a little bit costly than the fluorescent lamp. The next one, light emitting diode. So LEDs are semiconductor device that produces light when an electric current is applied to them. Okay, the main parts of LED lamp is a P layer, active region, N layer, and the substrate. It's anode, so terminal pin. Supply is applied between cathode and anode. In between we have a N layer and P layer. It acts as a diode. So light emitting diode is called as LED. The transparent plastic case. A long-term research has suggested that the development of the white LED will replace all other light source in 2025, as they are cost effective, and market resistant to produce 160 lumens per watt. Right now, the whatever the LED available in the market is 1000 lumens per watt. For 1 watt, it emits 100 lumens. According to survey in 2025, per watt the LED emits 160 lumens. The LEDs are very high correlated color temperature, often above 5000 Kelvin, produced by a cold bluish light. However, white LEDs about 2600 Kelvin to 3500 Kelvin have improved significantly, now approaching the efficacy of the CFLs. In addition to warmer appearance, the LED color rendering also improves. Leading warm white LEDs are now available with a color rendering index of CRI of 80 equivalent to the CFL. As a matter of fact, the fluorescent and a high intensity discharge, a light source cannot function without a ballast, which provides a starting voltage and limit the current to the lamp. Similarly, an LED requires power supply, commonly called as a driver. It requires a driver circuit. Okay, the power supply is converted into line AC power to the appropriate DC voltage. If we take single phase supply, 230 volt is converted to 2 to 4 volt DC for high brightness LED. So step down transformer is required, as well as the rectifier set is required. The current is about generally 200 to 1000 milliamperes, and also includes supplementary electrons for dimming or color correction control. Currently available LED driver are typically about 85% efficiency. So LED efficacy should be discounted by 15% to account for the driver. The luminous efficacy is an important indicator of energy efficiency, but it doesn't tell the whole thing, particularly regarding to the directional light sources. Due to the directional nature of their light emission, LED potential have high application efficiency than other light source in certain lighting application. Fluorescent and incandescent lamps emit light in all directions. Much of the light produced by the lamp is lost with the fixture, reabsorbed by the lamp, and escape from the uncommon of 40 to 50% of the total light output of the lamp to be lost before it exits the fixtures. While in the case of LEDs, they emit light in a specific direction, reducing the need for reflectors and diffusers, and that can trap light. So well-designed fixtures can drive light more efficiently to the intended location. Typically, LED shapes is shown in this figure. It's a lower energy consumption because 1 watt emits 1100 lumens. Okay. For one example, a comparison between the LED lamp and the incandescent lamp. Incandescent lamp, 40 watt lamp emits 750 lumens. 40 watt lamp emits 750 lumens, where 9 watt LED lamp emits 900 lumens. Okay, 9 watt lamp emits 900 lumens. So here power consumption also less, as well as it emits more light from the lamp. Okay. Another comparison with the fluorescent lamp and CFL is incandescent lamp and the CFL lamp. CFL lamp, if both lamps are connected to the electrical supply for 1 hour, 64 grams of carbon dioxide is liberated from the incandescent lamp, where 16 grams of carbon dioxide is liberated from the CFL lamp. Okay, a 60 watt lamp emits 64 grams of CO2 per hour, and 15 watt CFL emits only 16 gram per hour. LED life is about 50,000 hours to 1 lakh hours, and smaller in size and fast switching. This is the comparison between the different type of lamps. Okay. The color rendering excellent in incandescent. Working hour is 1000. Its average luminous efficiency is 14. Fluorescent lamp luminous efficiency is 50. Color rendering is good, so 5000 hours. CFL is about 60 lumens per watt. Color rendering is very good, it's 8 to 10,000 hours. Where LED is color rendering is good, working hour is 1 lakh hours, where average lumens per watt is 100. High pressure mercury vapor lamp, it's a fair light, it's a 50 lumens per watt and 5000 hours. We'll see the halogen lamp working principle. So here lumens per watt is less 20. Useful year is 4000 hours. Okay, low pressure mercury vapor lamp 6000 to 12,000 hour in special application 150 lumens. Okay, here application is mentioned. Incandescent lamp is used in homes, restaurants. Fluorescent lamps, office and shops. Compact fluorescents, hostels, shops and homes. High pressure mercury vapor lamp, car parking, garage, floodlighting. Halogen lamp, display, floodlighting, and sodium stadium exhibition grounds. Low pressure mercury vapor lamp is used in tunnels, canals, and roadways. The next type of lamp is carbon arc lamp. It is one of the oldest lamp. Okay, it consists of two electrodes. One is considered as cathode, another is considered as anode. Okay. Normally, it is excited from the DC supply. The positive electrode, the positive electrode diameter is 2 times more than the negative electrode. It is clearly shown. The more diameter electrode is connected to the positive, less diameter electrode is connected to negative. It consists of two carbon electrode, and the positive electrode is adjustable. Its distance can be adjusted, where negative is fixed one. So this positive is fixed, this negative is fixed, and positive is adjustable. When lamp is in off condition, two electrodes are touching each other due to the spring pressure on the positive electrode. When supply is applied, the current flows through the electrode and it gets separated. The spring action separates the two electrode. An arc transferred from one electrode to another electrode. When supply is applied, the arc is transferred. The arc is transferred from positive to negative. The 85% of the light emits from positive electrode, 10% light emits from negative electrode, and 5% through the A. Normally, it is used in cinema projector, as well as searchlight. Next one, the neon lamp. Before going to the neon lamp, the carbon lamp, the voltage drop across the arc is about 60 volts and supply is about 100 volts. And normally the DC supply is employed. The temperature, working temperature is 3500 degrees Celsius and lumen efficiency is about 9 lumens per watt. The next one, neon lamp. Neon lamp is belonging to the cold cathode lamp. The lamp operates at a very low temperature of 200 degrees Celsius. As comparison with the other lamp, the temperature is very less. That's why it's called as low cathode lamp. The tube consists of two electrodes and a neon gas. The electrodes are in the form of iron shells and are coated on inside. The color of the light emitted is in red. If the helium gas is used in the place of neon, the pinkish white light is obtained. Helium and neon through colored glass tubing produce a variety of effects. The transformer has a high leakage reactance. So here the transformer is shown. The transformer high leakage reactance transformer is used. Okay, tube consists of two electrodes. In order to enhance the power factor value, a capacitor is connected. The efficiency of the neon lamp is between 15 to 40 lumens, 15 to 40 lumens per watt. These lamps are used as an indicator lamp. Neon lamp is also used in a supply tester. Okay, neon lamp is also used in starter. Night lamps for determination of polarity, DC main supply in large size on neon tubes for the purpose of advertising. The neon tube, which is used in the varying length up to about 8 meters, which may which may be bent into almost any desired shape during the manufacture. It consists of length of glass tubing containing two electrodes, normally cylindrical in shape, of iron, steel, or copper. The tubes are mounted either on a wooden frame or metal base. These are matched with a step-up transformer by connecting suitable tapping for the rated current. The connection between the letters are made by nickel wires and the glass tube being slipped over them. Here letter is shown. So USHA letter is shown here and it is connected to the electrical supply. The power factor of neon tube is quite low and improved by capacitor. The capacitor can, however, be replaced on low voltage side of the transformer. Normally, the capacitor rating is 2.5 microfarads. In some application, 10 kilovolt is generally used to produce the light. The next one, halogen lamps. The halogen lamp is the halogen is added to the inert gas. It is a resistive lamp similar to the incandescent lamp. Inside the glass globe, halogen is added. Okay, it's smaller in size and working temperature is about 3000 degrees Celsius. It, it increases the temperature and doesn't require ballast and excellent optical control. Okay, it's resistive in nature, so ballast is not required. It has a longer life as comparison with the incandescent lamp. So this is all about a different type of artificial source of light. Okay. See the next, the principle of lighting. There are two principles. One is specular reflection and the diffuse reflection principle. So what is a specular reflection? When light falls on polished metallic surface or silvered surface, the most of the light reflected back according to the laws of reflection. The angle of light incidence equal to the angle of reflection is called as specular reflection. Only a small portion of the incident light is absorbed and there is always the image of the source. Okay, so specular reflection, here an example is considered. The angle of light incidence is equal to angle of reflection. And depending upon the material used for reflection, the absorption is depends. So these two angles are equal. The next one, diffuse reflection principle. If the light is incident on a porous surface like paper, frosted glass, painted ceilings, etc., the light scatters in all direction. Okay? Here light falls over a porous material and the light reflects in all direction. The angle of incident is not equal to the angle of reflection. Okay? Hence, no image of the source is formed. Such a reflection of light is called as diffuse reflection. A perfect diffuser is one that the scatters light uniformly in all directions, hence appearance, and it appears equal bright from whatever direction is viewed. White blotting paper is the nearest approach to the diffuser. The ratio of reflected light energy to the incident light energy is known as reflection factor. Okay? The reflection factor is the ratio of reflected light energy to the incident light energy. The perfect mirror surface and the perfect diffusing surface are ideals that do not exist in nature. The reflection from any surface is particularly specular and partly diffuse, the portion varying widely. A surface that is almost free from mirror reflection is called as matte surface. So it's all about the principle of reflections. The next one, the lighting schemes. The lighting schemes are classified according to the location required and purpose. There are five classifications: direct lighting, indirect lighting, semi-direct lighting, semi-indirect lighting, and general lighting. So direct lighting, here lamp is placed. Okay. 90 to 95% of the light is directly focused to the working area with the help of deep reflector. Deep reflector is used. Reflector is a device which reflects the light. The length of the reflector is increased, that's why it's called as deep reflector. uh, so 90 to 95% directly falls over the object on the surface. The light is made to fall upon the surface with the help of the reflector. Such type of lighting scheme is most widely used in industries as commercial lighting. Although this scheme is most efficient, but it is liable to cause glare and shadow. Okay. The second type of lighting, indirect lighting. So reflection of glass, reflection of frames. The light is not directly focused on working area, it is focused to the ceiling. Okay, then it is to the working area. The system is the light does not fall directly on the surface, but more than 90% of the light directly focus towards using diffusing reflectors. Here the ceiling acts as a source of light, and this lighting is uniformly distributed over the surface, and glare is reduced to minimum value. It provides shadowless illumination. When light is focused to the ceiling, it eliminates the shadows, which is useful for drawing office, and it is also used for decoration purpose and cinema halls, hostels. So best example, your light is focused on ceiling. The ceiling must, yeah, the ceiling is not painted with the help of dark colors. Okay, should be a light color. Next one, semi-direct lighting. This is also an efficient system of lighting, and chance of glare also reduced. Here the transparent shades are used, through which about 60% light is directly downwards and 40% is directly upwards. Okay. Semi-indirect, semi-direct. The direct, 90 to 95% directly falls over the working plane. Here 60% light on working plane and 40% light focused to the ceiling. This also provides a uniform distribution of the light and is best suited for room with high ceiling. The next one, semi-indirect lighting. The semi-indirect lighting, 60 to 90% of the total light is thrown upwards to the ceiling. Okay, the lamp is focused to the ceiling for diffused reflection. Okay, when light rays hits to the ceiling, it scatters in all direction. The rest reaches working plane directly. A very small amount of light is absorbed by the bowl. This bowl absorbs less amount of light, and it is mainly used for interior decoration. The next one, general lighting. The system employs such type of luminaries, shades, and reflector which give equal illumination in all direction. Okay. It is normally used in bedrooms or corridors or compounds. From this lecture, we can conclude that the compact fluorescent lamp having greater efficiency than the fluorescent lamp. Okay. In LED lamp is compact in size as well as its luminous efficiency is greatest as comparison with all other type of lamps. That's why nowadays it is also used in street lights by replacing sodium vapor and mercury vapor lamp. Okay. The efficiency of LED lamp is highest, as well as working hour is 1 lakh hours. The carbon lamp, arc lamp is oldest lamp normally used in projector and searchlights. Neon lamp is widely used in advertisement board. Neon gas is used. And halogen lamp, resistive in nature, its efficiency is quite high. Halogen is added to the inert gas. Normally, halogen lamp is used in video shootings and floodlights. There are two types of principle work reflection principle, angle of light incidence is equal to angle of reflection. Diffuse principle, light scatters in all direction. Okay. uh, Depending upon the application, direct lighting, indirect lighting, and semi-direct, semi-indirect lighting, and diffuse lighting, general lighting is used. Direct lighting, 90 to 95% of the light focused on the working plane. Indirect lighting, light 90% of the light focused on the ceiling. Semi-direct, 60% of the light focused downwards, 40% light focused upwards, 60 to 90% of the light is focused to the ceiling in indirect lighting. In general lighting, it distributes the light in all directions, okay, equally. This lecture comes under understanding level. These are the references. Thanks for watching this video. Thank you. Thank you one and all.